Over the past 4 games, Steph Curry is averaging over 35 points and shooting over 41% from 3. The Warriors are now 11-2 and have the largest margin of victory in NBA history, which leads me to the conclusion that Steph Curry is a basketball god. I mean, seriously, teams are throwing every last type of coverage at him as he just continues to produce offense at heights that arguably nobody has ever reached. Friday night at home against the Bulls was no different, as his constant barrage of three-point shooting, off-ball movement, and screening made them look like a G League level defense. Entering this game, Chicago had the 6th best defense in the NBA, and with 2 of the league's premier point of attack defenders in Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball, Steph Curry looked to have a tough match ahead of him. He wasted no time getting himself involved in the offense, on the first possession cutting straight into a screen to open up Looney for the layup. We talk about Curry's off-ball movement all the time, but that added size has really helped him become one of the league's very best screeners. On the very next play, he uses a screen himself that loses Lonzo, and Tony Bradley not playing high enough makes this a free 3 points. Here with little time on the shot clock, his drive up the middle collapses the wing defender and creates a 2-on-1 advantage, forcing LaVine to make a decision that ultimately leads to a wide open corner 3. Going back to that off-ball movement, on this possession Lonzo overplays Curry on the 3-point line, which he takes advantage of by cutting for the layup. That off-ball game just keeps proving to be too much for the defense to handle. Here setting a back screen for Iguodala to cut to the basket and work on a recovering defender. Steph uses his small stature exceptionally well on these actions, knowing he's allowed to get away with this extra contact and forward movement without getting called for an illegal screen. Of course he can get downhill anytime he wants because of just how high defenders have to play him, and when they fail to do that, he'll just effortlessly drill it in from deep. He can do it off the bounce too, using a hesitation to lose Caruso just long enough to set up that beautiful step back jumper. Here Lonzo does a great job of defending Steph on the curl, but like I said, that extra high defensive pressure allows him to get into the heart of the defense at will. For what it's worth, it also helps that he's one of the best finishing guards this game has ever seen, consistently posting accuracy inside the paint upwards of 65%. This expands to shots just outside the paint as well, here rejecting the screen that his defender bites on and getting inside for the easy floater. Again, he shows his screen setting ability on this play, holding Lonzo just long enough for Jordan Poole to hit this 3 comfortably in space. This one's subtle, but as Draymond goes downhill, Curry gets himself involved in a screening action that leaves him with 2 defenders, and nobody protecting the rim. To kick off the third quarter, Steph curls off a screen, and again Tony Bradley just isn't playing high enough, which results in 3 points. He doesn't need screens to score in dominant fashion though, here getting to the rim in isolation for the and 1. And then the 95% free throw shot. Here Steph comes off the high screen and makes a complete mockery of the defense, all on his way to set up Looney, who draws the foul and hits both free throws. Apparently Lonzo didn't learn his lesson last time he bit on the screen, Curry rejecting it yet again, but this time pulling up for 3. Now the third quarter Warriors are in full effect, and what better way to signify that than some Steph and Dre synergy. Their ability to play off each other so well is almost game-breaking at times, Draymond capitalizing on every last window of opportunity, and Curry executing. On this play, Curry and Bjelica run a basic pick and pop, and that lingering defensive attention is enough to create a wide open 3. It's almost insane how dynamic his offensive game is, both on and off the ball, this time on the inbound showing that prowess as a screener yet again. That closes a 35-point third quarter, spearheaded by the mastery of Steph Curry, and now with a 24-point lead, it's just about closing the game. That doesn't mean Steph is done though, here setting a classic high screen that allows Kuminga to get downhill for the layup. It's worth noting that in most cases, Lonzo Ball would be the one cutting off this driving lane, but because of who's setting the screen, he can do nothing but watch it happen. It's different when Curry's the one coming off the screen though. The screener's defender has to play up on the pull-up 3, only to come to the realization that he's just too quick to contain. On this one, he comes off a screen and pops out to the corner. After catching the ball, he quickly draws a hard double, and capitalizes on that advantage with a hook pass over the top to Otto Porter Jr. It's crazy how Porter just simply standing in position to set a screen is enough to bring LaVine multiple feet above the 3-point line, and a simple slip turns this into a layup line. but maybe doubling him actually was the right move, because as everyone knows, 3 is more than 2. I shouldn't have to say this, but committing to anyone that isn't Steph Curry in transition is one of the biggest mistakes a defender can make when facing the Warriors. Notice how the ball isn't even in the hoop by the time he starts a celebration with a point to the crowd, turning NBA basketball into his personal playground. That marks 40 in the game for Steph. So now, let's take a look at some numbers. The Warriors had a 126 offensive rating with Curry on the floor. If we split that into the two halves, they were at 111 in the first half and 141 in the second. Per my personal tracking, whether it was as a scorer, playmaker, or screener, over 34 minutes of play, Steph was directly involved in 75 of his team's points. Let's take it one step further. In the minutes that he was on the court, Golden State scored 91 points, which means that he was directly involved in over 82% of his team's points while he was playing. In other words, Steph Curry is an offensive savant. Whether it's putting up an absurdly efficient 40 points, or opening up 10 shots by screening, or creating constant advantages through his anomalous outside shooting threat, he's always involved in the offense both on and off the ball. And for that reason, he might just be the most valuable offensive player this game has ever seen. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website, podcast, and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments where you think Steph Curry stacks up in the MVP conversation and what the Warriors' ceiling as a team is. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.